2012 Dodge Charger with the 3.6 V6 engine. Today we're going to be replacing the oil filter housing and oil cooler unit. You have a package here from Dorman, part number 926959, and this is a full kit that comes with everything you need, and it is the upgraded aluminum version of it, which I highly recommend getting, as the plastic ones on these like to crack and leak over time. Let's get to it. Go ahead and remove our engine cover by grabbing it and pulling straight up. Next, grab ourselves a flat-headed screwdriver, and we're going to loosen the hose clamp for the intake. Whoops. Come on. Right there. And we're going to go ahead and loosen the one down here as well. And on the back end we have a sensor. Go ahead and grab the pinchable clip right here and remove it. Now, underneath of our intake manifold is our oil filter housing. Basically runs the length of the engine right here. So we need to remove our intake manifold to get to it. So we're going to go ahead and start isolating it. Removing these sensors. Go ahead and pull this plastic gray piece outwards, and then you can press down and wiggle it off to remove that connector. And move our harness out of the way with all of our connectors, and we can start disconnecting our hoses, one on top, one on the side near the back of the throttle body. Come on, there we go. And tuck these out of the way. And this one on the back has a metal hose clamp. Just get it with some extended needle nose pliers from the back. Get that hose off of there, or get the clamp off of the hose. And then see if we can't grab it and twist it and break it loose. There we go. Some slight wiggling, and our hose is removed. Tuck all this out of the way so we don't have to fight it later. And we've got a 10mm bolt right here, and I believe there's one on the other side. There's one right here. And I thought there was one back here, but I might be mistaken. If not, I am honestly okay with that. I don't feel anything else. Let's go ahead and remove those 10mm nuts. And our other one right here behind the intake manifold, I'm sorry, the throttle body. Try not to drop that like I just did. I'll have to find that later. There's also a harness retainer right here. You go ahead and grab our needle noses again. Pinch on both sides of that and pry it straight out. And it looks like there's another 10mm nut right back here. Hopefully that shows up on camera. And now, because of the way this is designed, those brackets that we just removed, those 10mm nuts from, one of those brackets needs to be removed. So that way when we remove the intake manifold, we can slide it out in one direction. I'm going to recommend doing the one down here on this side because it's held in by a single 14mm bolt, and the one on that side I can't even find it. So it's behind the engine. I don't feel like messing with it, so I'm just going to work on this side right here. I'm going to recommend getting a 14mm gear wrench because that'll make this job a lot easier. You can see it right down there. We're just going to slide our wrench down onto it. I'm sorry, not a bolt, it's a nut, but this might actually be a 13. And you can follow this bracket straight down, and you'll see the harness clip right here. Just going to pull that out and move it out of the way. And right down here, there's a 13mm nut. It looks like that's showing up on camera all right. And we're going to break this loose. And it's rusted pretty solid, so the whole bolt's going to come out actually, apparently. And you can see we don't really need to remove it. We just need to loosen it enough where we can get this bracket off of this stud that's coming out of the intake manifold. I'll put both my hands down here and see if I can't just turn this with my fingertips. A little bit more, almost there. There we go. And that bracket fell right off, just what I was hoping for. We're going to push that towards the front of the engine so that way it's out of the way from this manifold. And when we loosen all the bolts from this manifold, we'll be able to grab the manifold, lift up on this end, and slide towards us to remove the manifold from the top of the engine. And as far as I can tell, that's everything removed. So we can go ahead and get an 8mm bolt. There's 2, 4, 6. I want to say there's 8 bolts. Might only be 7, but we'll figure it out. Some of these are in the open. The other ones are going to be down in these valleys. So for that, I've got a 3-inch extension and our 8mm, of course. Six. I know you're there. There you are. 7. And that 7th one is actually towards the center. So I'm thinking that is actually it. Yep, that's all of them. Oh, might be something else. There is. There's another bracket back here. I knew there would be 2 brackets. This one's just really well hidden. I'll have my 13 down here and see if I can't break this loose. Except on this side, I think it'd actually be better to use a socket. Got my 13 millimeter. I'm gonna see if I can't get it with a regular. If not, we will probably need to use a deep. But it looks like the standard socket is going to do the trick. Ah, there it goes. And it does have an AC line, I think that is. No, that's not an AC line. What are you, an evap? Oh, that's a heater hose. Okay. It does have a heater line connected to it. Keep on loosening that up a little bit. Alright, once you get that 13 millimeter nut off down there, there's actually another nut behind the heater hose that you have to break loose. And we're going to go ahead and remove the 10 millimeter bolt. Up here now. Get that bracket out of the way and we'll see if we can't remove this intake manifold now. Alright, we can go ahead down here and there we go. We're going to pull up and we're going to pull towards us so that we clear this bracket right here. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and disconnect our fuel line. I did not purge mine, so there might be a little bit of gas. That bottom one is a real pain. This harness goes right in top of it. Alright. Gently pull this off. Gonna lose a little bit of gas. That's okay. Next, we're going to remove the fuel rails. To do this, we need our T30 Torx bit. Nice and gentle. And remove those 4 bolts. And after that, we can come in here and lift up on our fuel rails. Hopefully, the injectors will come up with it. We can have a nice, easy extraction. Be very gentle. These are connected by a nylon hose, and it will break, so be careful with that. Looks like none of my injectors want to stay connected. They did all, for whatever reason, want to drop their O-rings. Make sure you take the time to reinstall these O-rings onto the top of each injector. keep on moving on. This one pulled up that last injector, which makes more work. There's our fuel rail. Go ahead and push this injector back down in there. Disconnect the fuel injectors now. God, hopefully, Jesus, flip. They have red locking tabs on them. You just need to pry those up gently. That. Same on the other side. Injector out of the way for now. All of our connectors are moved out of the way. And finally, we can come in here with our 8mm again and remove our lower intake manifold. All of these are pulled all the way up, and take a second just to make sure there's no large pieces of debris that'll fall down into your intake. And with that, you can grab our lower intake manifold and pull it straight up, just being careful of the harnesses around it. And there's a clip in the back I was not aware of. I'm just going to cut that. I'm not about to play these games with this thing. And there are 2 clips. Stupid idea. And real quick, before I forget to, go ahead and pull this lower O-ring for our injector. I'll clean this off real quick. A little bit of oil on it. I'm going to slide it back onto our injector. Like that. And reinsert it. And hopefully it'll stay. Yep. There we go. Beautiful. Pops right in. now that we're here, we can see our oil filter housing and our oil filter cooler, our oil cooler system. Right back here we have our oil sensor. Just pull straight up on this black, red tab, and then we can disconnect it by pressing down on the thumb relief. And we have another sensor down here, which is really hard to get to, especially because it's covered in oil. Pull that connector off, and I think we should be pretty good to go for removing this unit. There are 2 hoses in the back, but I think, well, actually it might only be 1 hose, but we can disconnect that once we get it out, and it'll be a lot easier to deal with once it's up here rather than deep in that valley. And these bolts for this unit are held in with Echo 8s. They're a special 6-pointed die. Kind of funky looking, but basically just do that, so you have to buy other tools. If not, you can put I think a 6mm on there, or maybe a 6.5 is the same. But I, of course, would highly recommend using the correct tool. You can get a whole kit of these for like 10 bucks at your local auto parts store. It's worth having, so that way you just know you're doing it all right. And we got our first bolt right here. And there should be one exactly on the opposing side. Right here. We have 2 in the back. One right here that I missed. Feels like it's loose now. Nope. Where's my flash? There it goes. Woo! So much gunky stuff down there. Try not to let it drain down into the valleys for your intakes going into the heads. Just let that drain out a little bit. Yeah, this thing was leaking bad. It's all over the place here. So I'm gonna get my shot back and try to suck that out real quick, and probably clean out the valleys for the heads real quick also, just for good measure. And we'll be right back. And with everything cleaned up in here, I'll reach back and disconnect that rear facing hose, which I thought I had a suitable wrench. Pair of pliers, I mean. There we go. And there's our old unit. Make sure you don't throw this away because you might need some of these sensors. But other than that, and if you look at our hose here in the rear, you can see it's got a bulge in it. It doesn't look like it's popped or split. Was not the source of our leaking, but I'm definitely going to replace that hose because I don't feel like doing this job twice. Alright, we got everything cleaned up in here. Make sure you take a second to make sure all the O-rings off of your oil passageways have been removed. Those like to stick to the bottom of the, or I guess the top of the block. So make sure you take a second. The hose that connects to the back had a sizable bulge in it right here. So I figured it was probably a better idea just to spend $15 and get a replacement. This one is from Gates 12047. You can probably get this at O'Reilly's or AutoZone. I think Gates you can get pretty much anywhere. So definitely recommend spending that $15. Even if yours isn't bulging or anything like that, it's probably a good idea just to replace it, just so you have that peace of mind going forward. And $15 is pretty inexpensive for peace of mind. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this hose back on. It basically just slides back into here and connects to this metal hose right back here. Not part of the video, so I'm not going to get into it with that. Pretty straightforward. You should be able to figure that out. And I'll be right back. All right, let's go ahead and assemble our new oil filter housing. I'm going to start with the oil filter, I guess. Got some clean oil here. Lube up that new O-ring. And install onto our oil filter cap. Sliding it down into that last groove right here at the base. Alright, so we got our new oil filter. Put it in install. Next, get our gaskets out for our oil cooler. And go just like this. And we can insert them down this way. You see, this lines up. And provided in the kit, we got some new bolts. I want to say those are T30s, but I'll verify that. This sensor up top looks to be a 3/4 inch. And it is not. Nope, they're just a regularly different sized. I'm going to clean these up and put some fresh thread tape on these just to make sure that they're still good to go. And for this one, I'm just going to use a channel wrench. Same thing with this one. I'm just going to clean these up and put some new thread tape on them. Alright, we got fresh thread tape on both of them. Come on, bite. Thank you. Just wanted to rotate that down a little bit more so that the clip will be facing up. set these up for the installation onto the block. Got nice little gaskets. Okay, this one goes right here. They're all different sizes, so you're just gonna have to play around with them to figure out which one goes where. But they'll fit right in there perfectly, hopefully. And then this one, the actual O-ring, will go around this tubing that sticks down inside of the block, like so. So when you're done, you should have something that looks sort of like this. And it's ready to be reinstalled onto the top of the engine block. And my first step is going to be to reinstall our coolant hose onto the back of the oil filter housing. Come on. And make sure that your connectors, both of them, are tucked up and out of the way. No reason to have to fight anything else. And our kit even came with some brand new bolts. Assuming these are the same Echo 8s, they are. And just like the other one, we're going to start towards the center, which will probably be this one right here, I guess. I'm just going to start by threading these all in and making sure that everything is lined up. How is this not lined up? I just have to wiggle that, there it goes, wiggle this, that tube that has to be inserted in the block, you just got to kind of wiggle that into place. Once that pops down, everything else lines up. Starting from the inwardmost, we're not putting these down tight, we're just putting them in so we know that every one of them is started correctly. All right, and we're gonna go back starting from this one right here, this one right here, and then we'll work our way out like so. Beautiful. Plug in our connectors. go ahead and start by replacing the gaskets on the bottom of our lower intake assembly. Best tool for this is a pick, but you can use a flathead screwdriver or whatever you got. You can see some of these are covered in oil. We're going to go ahead make sure that all these places in here are clean and free of oil before we install our new gaskets. And I also went ahead and I removed the gaskets that connect to the upper intake manifold and cleaned those up, and we can go ahead and start reinstalling our new gaskets that came in our kit. I wish they had put these in separate bags, but that's okay. The ones we're looking for has the little oval on the top of them, right where the fuel injector sticks out. Trying to figure out which way this thing goes real quick. Pretty sure I got it set up right. I'll figure it out when I try to install it, I guess. Go ahead and pull our shop rags out of here. Go ahead and I'm just going to hand start every one of these bolts to make sure that they're all lined up properly, because if one of them goes crooked or cross-eyed, you can end up cracking this plastic housing, and I don't feel like dealing with that. So just take a second, double check all of them, make sure they're all started by hand, and Lego. And come in here with our 8mm, starting again from the innermost bolt. I'm guessing it'll be these two right here. And you do not need to put these down hard at all. That's it. Just a little snap of the wrist at the end. That's it, done. And we're doing the going crisscrossing it, making sure that we apply nice even pressure to our new gaskets. Give me my socket. And that's how it goes. Go ahead and move these out of the way a little bit. Make sure our connectors are not in the way, and we're going to go ahead and reinstall our fuel rail. Pretty straightforward. Installing a fuel rail, I typically like to just grab a can of WD-40. Just give the top of those O-rings a quick spray. So that way they slide in much easier, and you have less chance of them actually rolling out of the groove that they sit in, and then you'll just end up having a fuel leak. And if it sounds like I'm talking from experience, it's because I am. When doing your fuel injectors, take your time lining them up. You know you have all of them lined up on a side, go ahead and just press down and wiggle, and you'll feel them pop into place. Where'd my bolt? Oh, here they are. I was saying, where'd my bolts go? Again, we're going to start these by hand, and when you're installing your fuel rail, you need to remember that you are putting these down onto a plastic manifold. Be very careful not to over tighten these, or else you can crack that manifold. Just put them down tight. Do not under any circumstances go heavy on these and put a bunch of force behind it. Go ahead and figure out where my fuel rail went. I moved it out of the way. There we go. Stop fighting. And you just rotate this green connector clip around until it lines up with the grooves. Put that down until it clicks in. Go ahead now and install our lower manifold to upper manifold gaskets. These are just big old rectangles. Doesn't matter which way they go in, just make sure they're in there nice and flush and flat. And before we put the intake manifold back on, make sure we reconnect our fuel injectors. A little bit difficult to do these because you don't want to put this lock down first. I usually try to press them from the back and then move to the front where the little red locking tabs are. Not difficult, just make sure you got them down tight or else you're going to have a misfire whenever you start this thing up, because that injector's not going to be firing off right. Good. Fuel rail on, fuel injector cables connected. Make sure I'm not forgetting nothing stupid. Nope. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect this hose. Shouldn't be an issue. This came off when I was doing that coolant line around the back of the engine. And I just took it off real quick because it was in the way. But that shouldn't be an issue. I should be able to do that even if the upper intake manifold is on. Insert it into the stabilizer pieces right here in the back. Make sure it's in there nice and tight. And then let her sit down nice and gently. Starting as many of these by hand as possible. and then going in behind with our 8mm and making sure that each of them start properly. Again, got my 3-inch extension with my 8mm. Good. Let it. Alright, those are all started. We're going to start from the innermost one, which will probably be this one right here. And again, this is a plastic housing. Do not put these down harshly. I seriously think it's like, there it is right there actually, 7 to 9 Newton meters. Just literally nothing. Just be of the utmost care with these. And this one right in the middle of the back. I know you're in here. Where are you? There you are. Something in the way? In my butt. Just like that. That's pretty much all the hard parts, really. Go ahead and put everything else back together in the exact reverse order we took it apart from, and you should be golden. If you'd like to see another video on one of these vehicles, go ahead and check out that one next. I made that one just for you. But other than that, if this video helped you out, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you all next time.